It's that time again. It is time to rank some palettes, my 17 palettes I used in the month of March. Hello, my gorgeous ones. My name is Alicia. This is Alicia Budget Beauty. I do hauls, tutorials, reviews, palette rankings, all sorts of fun stuff. So if that sounds good to you, please subscribe, stick around, be a friend. All right, you guys, it is time to rank the 17 palettes I used in the month of March. Honestly, I thought it was going to be much less than this because I felt like I used several palettes several times and testing them out, which I did, but then I also have several that I've only had the chance to use once. So this palette ranking is going to keep that in mind, that some of these palettes could maybe rank higher or lower depending on how many times I use them here on out and really get a good feel for it. But I can only really go off of the looks I actually created. So let's go ahead and get into number 17. And I will say none of these palettes this month are bad. I'm not decluttering any of these palettes at this point. So we have number 17 is by Covergirl. This is the Clean Beauty line and it is the Cool Berry palette. So the reason why this is low is pretty much just because it's a little quad. It's really hard for me to rank smaller palettes really high because there's just not as much that you're testing out, not as many looks and formulas. But honestly, this little palette was really good. It came in my Walmart beauty subscription. I do get that in PR. I do have a video of that unboxing. And I thought this was such a good get because this is a little $10 palette. I'm not sure that it's really worth $10 to be honest, because I know we have like e.l.f., something else that you're about to see here in a minute that is a little bit better even maybe and is cheaper. But I do think this was a pretty little color story and it's good. It's just at the bottom because it's a quad. Next up at 16, we have the Alter Ego Dream Gaze palette. Now I do have a video on this. I did create 3 looks with this and 3 really pretty looks. Don't think because this is here at the bottom that it is a bad palette. Just out of the ones that I used, it's down here because for me personally and my preference of formula and pigment, the mattes take a lot of building up and then the shimmers are very subtle. You can get some really pretty looks out of this. I keep saying that this is a very like beginner friendly palette, beginner with color. You cannot really mess up with this, and I do think that that counts for something. Just for me, at my journey and point of eyeshadow palettes, I'm a little bit past like this formula, but I do think it's pretty. This is a Natasha Denona pastel dupe palette. It is magnetic. You can move them around. It is affordable. So I do think it is for some people out there, but for me, it just is going to rank at number 16. All right, at number 15, and I hate putting this so low because it's really good. It's just where I had to put it, but you guys now have probably seen, if not, I have a video on the brand new brand by Profusion called Color Spell. And if you saw that video, you know I was super impressed with every single product that I tested out. And also nails. In that video, I had to splice these in. I kept saying the only thing I hadn't tried out of everything that they sent were nails, and I was hoping I would actually get them on and get like it edited into the video somehow. So here they are. They are so good, you guys. So this is the little palette. This is the, that's right, it doesn't have the name on it. That drives me nuts. There is a cardboard packaging that this came in and the name is on that. It needs to be on the palette unless I'm blind and missing it. But so this color story with the 2 mattes and then 3 shimmers in here, this is really good. Really good. I hate putting it at 15, but it's just the other palettes have a little bit like more going on with them. But mattes, great. Shimmers, great. I just kind of wish maybe there was like this was another matte, maybe even like some sort of purple to tie in with this purple, because I don't know that we needed 3 shimmers and 2 mattes, but the formula is really good. At number 14, I put this one just a little bit higher, is another one of their Color Spell palettes. Again, I don't know the name of it, so I apologize. But this one is a perfect little 5-pan. This one has 4 mattes and 1 shimmer, which maybe it needs 1 more shimmer in it, but the mattes are so freaking good in this that I will excuse it. And I think this color story is so pretty. The tones, these deserty tones, super pretty. They blended like a dream. The pigment is there. Oh my goodness. So, so good. At number 14, I did put the Petal Perfect palette, also by Profusion. Lots of Profusion in the month of March. And I did have 3 looks on this palette, and it had those little 5 pans, the Color Spell ones, been the formula that was in this would rank up at the very, very tops because I love this color story. I really, really loved my looks from this. It's just the formula in here is a little hit or miss when it comes to the shimmers. The mattes are great, but had it had like a little bit elevated shimmer quality, this would rank so high. Still, for a $12 35 pan palette, this is excellent. All right, at number 13, we have the Nomad Cosmetics Orient Express palette. This is no longer available. It's a good palette, not a great palette. And again, like if these were maybe like one big palette, it would rank higher than this one because the formula in these is actually a little bit better than the formula in this. Nomad has definitely improved their formula since this, but this isn't a bad palette. Like I said, it's a good palette. It's just not their best. They've definitely improved when it comes to their shimmers over these. These are a little bit more like flat, not as sparkly and impactful. The mattes are pretty good in here, but it's just not their best. So that is number, did we say number 13? Okay, no, that was number 12. Sorry. I get lost sometimes when I do these. So that was number 12. At number 11, we have another Color Spell palette. This is the Solstice palette. And you guys, this is so, so good. At the time I'm filming this, I still don't know what this price point is. I hope that I already figured it out and that when you saw the video on Color Spell that I was able to include that. But at this time, it has not been released yet and I haven't seen the price point, but I'm guessing it's very, very affordable. This formula is so good. I loved my look with this. I definitely want to play with it more, but it's beautiful. It's beautiful for summertime with these warm tones. The shimmers are pretty in here. Really, really, really nice. And then just above that one is going to be, oh, this one, they do have the name on this. This is, did I already say this? Solstice. This one is Berries. This one ranks just a little bit higher because the purples in here are so dang pretty. They blend so easily, so pretty. And then I also love like this shimmer right here has this kind of like peachy gold pink action going on. And then the more neutrally shades when you blend it with the purple almost look like a peach. And it was so pretty. Really, really, really impressed with this. I cannot wait to see what else they come out with. All right, coming in at number 9 is the Ireland Wild Atlantic Way. So this palette, I think I've decided what it is about this palette that isn't my favorite of Nomad and just color stories, period. And because I was like, okay, people seem to be loving this palette, which is great. You know, especially if you use my code and got this, I would want you to enjoy it. I was really honest about my review on this, did 3 looks. I had a little bit of difficulty with it. I think what I've decided is for myself, my skin tone, just my features, everything, I think I really prefer more of a either cool toned green, like say like sage and maybe like a sea green, or like grungy greens, or you know, I think that green like verdant greens like this just don't flatter me as much. Because I was like, I love green. Why do I not love this palette? I love green eyeshadow. I think it's just the tone for me. Honestly, my favorite shades in here are right here. The blues and the silvery color. I love this little area right here. I do really like the shimmers in here. It's just not my favorite color story on myself. So that's why it's number 9. All right, coming in at number 8, and I honestly kind of wanted to rank this higher, but it was difficult because all these palettes are really, really good. But it is the Laura Lee Los Angeles Candy Skies palette. Now, I do have this on my eyes today in conjunction with another palette in this lineup. And by the way, this is Easter I'm filming, so this is the last day of March. And today I have eBug right here. The light purple is the first lighter purple here. And then I have Pistachio in the inner corner. So those are the only shades I have from this palette on today. But you guys, this is such a good pastel palette. I really, really, really like it. I did have this in I did a pastel ranking. If you didn't see that, want to go check it out and see where all my pastel palettes fell. Go look at that. I love the peachy tones in here. Like, I'm kind of dying to dip back into this and do the peaches, but it just performs so well. It's such a good palette. I really, really love my look today with it. Coming in at number 7, another palette that I love is the Melt Amor Mariposas palette. And you guys, this is one of those that every time I wear it, my look is just undeniably beautiful. It's not that when I'm using it, like sometimes I'm putting on, you know, my shadows and I'm like in the moment as I'm using it, like blown away by the formula. And then there's sometimes where when I'm using shadows, I'm kind of like, okay, like it's a good formula. It's like not like the best, but it's good. But then like somehow that look is like the top of the tops. That is how this palette is for me. It's the tones in here. It's the richness. It just looks beautiful, especially whenever I use the kind of like orangey coral and like the brown and sort of the purplies. Now, it's been a long time, but the green look is still, or the greens I used in a look about, it's probably like a year ago or a year and a half ago. That's still like one of my favorite looks that I did. So I do love the greens. I just haven't played with them in a long time, but this palette is really good. It feels weird to put it at number 7. Love that palette. All right, at number 6, you guys, this is a palette that could have ranked higher. I don't know yet, because at the time I'm filming this video, I've only done one look. You guys have probably already seen a video where I created 2 more looks with this. So I don't know if this would have ranked higher, but I have to count, like I used it one time in March, and then the other 2 times are going to be the next 2 days in April that I haven't done yet. But it is the Wildwood palette from Alter Ego, also known as a dupe for Natasha Denona Yucca palette. So I've only used this once at this point, but my look was so good. Honestly, looked pretty much just as good as the Yucca palette. Now, if you've seen my video, I have compared them already, where I did one on one eye, like use Wildwood and then use Yucca and really compared the formula. So I don't know that yet. I don't know that outcome, but I have a feeling that if this keeps performing really well, this could have ranked higher. All right, coming in at number 5 is the Nomad Cosmetics Monteverde, the Cloud Forest palette. I've talked about this palette quite a bit already because I did do a Nomad ranking of my palettes, and this one ranked pretty high. So if you haven't seen that and you're curious about where all I ranked my palettes, go check that out. I ranked 19 of the larger palettes, but I prefer the greens in here on myself much more than the greens in the Ireland palette. I don't know what it is about it, but these are just more flattering. So like maybe it's more so like I like neon, cool, and grungy greens, not just like the greens that are in the Ireland palette. But I used this and did a green look before I got my Ireland palette, and I was like, I liked this look so much better. I just think this palette's really, really fun. Perfect for spring and summer. Definitely one of my favorite Nomads. All right, coming in at number 4, and I kept going back and forth between this being 3 or 4 and the other one, but this is the What's Up Beauty Dragon Eye palette. This is so, so pretty. I really, really love this palette. I think for me, this palette is kind of like Sydney Grace for me. Not that the formulas are the same. Sydney Grace is one that I always say, if I don't want to think and I know my look's going to look good and it's going to be easy to create, I'll go for Sydney Grace. Is it always like the most like impactful, like people stop me on the streets? No, but like it always looks good. It always looks professional. It's very, very reliable. I feel like this palette is like that for me. The shimmers are so pretty and so flattering and so sparkly, but then like the mattes are so kind of toned down and muted that you really can't mess up. You know, like this shimmer is going to be the star of the show with this palette. So I really, really, really enjoy it. I'm like ready for her to come out with a new palette. She takes her time, which is good, but I'm ready to see what she's going to do next. At number 3, I went ahead and put the Glaminatrix Cosmetics Pretty in Pastels. So again, this is in my pastel ranking if you want to see where this landed. And I believe at the time that I did that, I had only done one look or maybe 2. So I wasn't sure like exactly where to rank it in my pastels because I needed to use it again. This row, or these two rows are my favorite in here. That is what my favorite look was. It was so good. The blues and greens are just beautiful, beautiful tones. Looked so pretty. I do like these 2 rows too. They're just a little more subtle. I think my favorite rows go these 2, this one, then this one right here. But shimmers are beautiful in here. These are perfect inner corners, like especially the lighter ones. They just really show up in the inner corner like crazy. So that is number 3. Okay, at number 2, and I feel weird because I've only used it once and it is on my eyes today. I've got to use it more. So I feel weird putting it so high, but then I'm like, well, it could be number 1 if I keep using it, but it is the Adept Cosmetics Cyborg Choir Palette. This is so pretty in person. It is so pretty. I cannot capture all the shifts just showing you this way. It's just one of those, I don't know. A lot of palettes are like that where they're even prettier in person. This is just the ultimate. But today I did use this purple, and that is what's the deeper purple here. And then I also went with it under the lash line, and then I went with this just to deepen up this outer portion. And then I have Digital Harmony on the lid as well as Violet Voltage. So again, I have to keep playing with this. So I don't like to rank something so high when I haven't played with it a ton, but I can already tell like this is, I mean, it's Adept. I love Adept's formula. I just think this is possibly going to be like my favorite, if not, I don't know, this will be in maybe my top 3 for sure. Favorite Adept palettes, if not my very top, I think, whenever I'm done. But number 1 for the month of March, I have to give it to Gourmande Girls and my girl Steph for Nueva Vida. You guys, this one really, really surprised me because I liked the color story. I liked it a lot. And actually, I talked about in another video how this satisfied my craving for the, I don't know how to say it still, the D'Averny brand and the Moth and the Moon palette. I had planned on picking that up and I liked it better than the Gloomy Garden palette. And then when this came in PR, I was like, oh, I don't need Moth and the Moon because they're similar enough. And I just thought it would be like a fun palette, but didn't know if I would love it, love it. I just loved my looks. The formula is so good. So good. I know a few people didn't love the color story that didn't try it. I encourage you sometimes to just try something, like maybe it'll be better than you thought that it would be, because these work so well together and they're just beautiful in the eyes. I think my post with like a look on each eye on Instagram is my most liked post that I've had, I don't know about ever, but in a really long time, because people don't really like anymore. Like way back, you could easily get a bunch of likes. Like that didn't really happen anymore. And I mean, people shared this like crazy, my look. So it's just that impactful. It's beautiful. All right, you guys, so that is my 17 palettes I used in the month of March ranked. Let me know what your favorite palettes were, or even maybe some of your fails in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. As always, have fun shopping, budget shopping. Bye.